Hi, my name is Zach, and my missionary biography is on Bill Hyde. He was a missionary to the Philippines, where he focused on both education and church planting. Bill was a very humble person. He was born in February 3rd, 1944, from a small farming town called Shellsburg in Iowa. He grew up working at his dad's hardware store, so very humble upbringing. So he came to Christ at age 12, but didn't always live it. He earned the nickname Slugger because he was tall, bulky, had a large stature, and quite the temper. He was constantly getting into fights. But when he got to college, he got a renewed devotion to the Lord. So being athletic, he was very smart and was very musically creative. So he got a full ride scholarship to the University of Iowa, where he would start attending a small church, Bethany Baptist Church, and he would meet his life love, Garlinda Gage, or Lynn as she preferred to be known. And less than a year later, they end up married. But Bill was soon to be drafted into the Vietnam War early into their marriage. And that would be a very pivotal moment for him, where he was trained as a radio operator. And one of those days in Vietnam, their camp was attacked by a mortar shell, or a mortar shell exploded in their camp, and a large piece of shrapnel ripped through the tent that he had been in just moments earlier. It was a very traumatic experience for him. He ended up grabbing the shrapnel, bringing it back to the U.S., and it was a symbol of his promise that he made to himself to never return to the Southeast Asia. Which is ironic because now we know he is a very influential missionary in the Philippines. So very much a reminder of Proverbs 69, the heart of a man plans his way, but the Lord establishes his steps. So God definitely had different plans for the Hydes than when he returned. So upon his return, he started teaching music at middle schools and high schools. And during the summers, the Hydes were able to kind of get involved with their church and go on these short-term mission trips. During the summer of 1975, they went on a trip that was very influential for them, kind of changed their path. And that was where he served with an Alaskan wilderness camp. He took his wife and his kids with him, and they were separated from their community, from their family, and God kind of used that to make them rely on Him. And it was very pivotal, and they realized that call that God was putting on their life, and he would return and get hired on with the International Mission Board. It's there that they would then go over to the Philippines, and Bill would teach at a Baptist school to train up missionary kids. But he felt a deeper call for church planting. He wanted to train others to plant churches. So feeling that call on a single missionary furlough, he got his Master of Divinity from Southwestern Baptist Theological Center, which is no small feat. So he started on returning to the Philippines. He started working at the Southern Baptist College in Malang, but still feeling a deeper call. He started learning the local language, and in 1997, they transferred to the city of Davao. So almost 2 years later, and he's still building himself up. And so it's there that he would focus all of his energy on discipleship and church planting. So he was constantly discipling and teaching others to teach others. So very much following that New Testament model. But on March 4th, 2003, he was going on his way to pick up a missionary family that was on their way back to the Philippines. And it was the only time in his career, in his 25 plus years there, that his wife didn't accompany him to the airport. And so on that trip, a terrorist left a briefcase, and that briefcase exploded, injuring hundreds of people. And Bill was one of the people to perish in that. And on the way to the hospital, Lynn felt God speak to her, Genesis 50 verse 20, where Joseph was speaking to his brother, and he said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." For good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So Lynn would go on to serve for another 6 years, and in all of the research that I had to do for this project, Bill's legacy always overshadowed the facts of his life. His personality, his love for God, his love for church planting and strategy. So very much this missionary has kind of left me wondering, asking myself, am I following God to the point that my character overflows my actions? So I think it's been a very fun assignment, and appreciate you listening. Thanks.